Hello. Here's an unusual one. The Boulton Defiant. It's supposed to be defying the enemy, but I think they were defying the conventions of aeronautical design at the time. Defiantly sticking with a turret guns rather than wing-mounted guns. I'm not so sure how successful they were, but they filled the gap, I suspect, and did their best. This is the Airfix model, which I finished a couple of years ago. I decided to do the daylight camouflage this time. I've had to glue the spinner in place because it doesn't really sit up against the cowling when it's I wasn't able to model it tightly. I've got you've got various options in this kit for the canopy, because there's a down position and an up position and a canopy pushed back position. There are 3 different options of the canopies for this kit, which is good to have the options, but I modelled it so that it was parked, as it were, on the ground. Similarly, you've got an option for the back area after the gun turret, and that can be flatter against the fuselage, or in position it is at the moment as a landed ground one. Also, the rudder is separate, so you can fix it in position to make it look as if it's moving freely, and you can pose it, in other words, a posable rudder, which is fun. Gives you lots of options. One error I made was when I put I don't know if it's an aerial or a pitot tube, but when it's pointing, it's supposed to be pointing parallel to the fuselage, but if I'm looking at it from this direction when I'm lining it up, I ended up having it's slightly pointing inwards, but it's quite thin and you can sort of bend it into place a little bit more accurately than I did. Usual wing lights. You can place the turret in any place you want, but I've got it so I can lift it up slightly, so I can move it over the part, which in this case is the raised fuselage, but thankfully it's slack enough to move, and it's black like the other ones. There are some masks on the market for these parts, but a little bit of time and tape and you should be able to manage itself without. One good thing with the decals, it's very detailed with the various underwing labels, I suppose they'd be, little lifting points or drain points, I'm not sure. Again, another option you've got to pay attention to is that on the Defiant you've got 2 aerials on the underside, one of which has to be as it were recessed or withdrawn from the in-flight. That the back one is longer than it would be to safely land, so it would be sticking out further than the tail wheel if it was fully extended. So I model that retracted, but it's a lot better than the original kit was. I made the old version, which was very tight at the time back in the 80s, and this is much better kit. So if you do see one on for sale, it's certainly recommended. I'd buy another one of these again to do the night fighter version. So there you go, the Boulton Defiant, an unusual but probably necessary aircraft in the early stages of World War II. Okay.